Alright, so hey guys, welcome back to another video. What I thought I would do today, because I actually just finished it up, was review the Daredevil Netflix show for you guys. I know this is long overdue, especially since Jessica Jones just came out, but I hadn't got a chance to watch it, and I just finished it up last week. So I thought I would just give you a quick rundown of that, tell you what I thought of it. I'm not going to give you any kind of plot spoilers or anything. Probably wouldn't matter, because I'm sure you've probably seen it if you're going to see it, but I'm still going to avoid that just in case. So I'm going to give you my thought on the characters, my thought on the plot, all that kind of good stuff. So I thought Matt Murdock was great casting. I thought he was very good. He was definitely the kind of personality you want in a Daredevil character. And honestly, like his proto suit that he had throughout the whole thing, so good. It was so cool looking, and when he got like the wraps and he had the sticks and everything, it looked like it flawless. Not much. But it was really a good suit that I really enjoyed. I thought it looked great in action, and something that I really want to touch on is the choreography. It was amazing. Like some of the fight scenes in this was just so cool to see. A scene that you've probably heard about if you haven't seen the show was the hallway scene. It was all in one take. So good. Let me give you a quick rundown of the scene just to kind of give you some insight into it. The scene is he walks in with the hand wraps on him. He walks into a hallway and he starts running through and hears people talking and having a conversation in a room. He looks in, he just goes in and attacks them. And something they use a lot in this scene to their advantage is just audio, sound effects. There are scenes where he'll walk into the room, you just hear noise, you hear the sound of him punching people, and you hear things breaking, and then you see him walk out, and then he's followed by some people, and they start fighting, and it's really great choreography. It looks great, and the way it's set up is just so amazing. It's something that they weren't afraid to do in this. A lot of times in superhero things, they want them to look extraordinary. They don't want them to look like they get tired out or like they're really out of breath when they're just fighting thugs. Something that they really did well was just showing that he really is exhausted, and he's not a superhuman. He's a human with some enhanced senses that has trained with an old guy named Stick. And so from there, I'm going to continue to some other characters because I've been going for 3 minutes already. Another character that only shows up once, but I feel like he had such an impact on the whole plot of the show. I still want to touch on him, and that character is Stick, as I said. If you haven't followed Daredevil comic books, the character of Stick is an old man who trained Matt Murdock when he was a kid to use his lack of sight to use it to his advantage, to use his enhanced senses as something to really make him an extraordinary person. And he shows up in one episode just to kind of let Matt realize that he's being too soft. He needs to really toughen up, and there's a great scene where he fights him, and he's never been able to do this before, I would assume, but he beats Stick in a fight. And Stick, that's where he gets his sticks from, is from character Stick. I'm saying Stick a lot right now. Stick. Okay. Anyway, so let's move on from that. From there, let's go to, oh my gosh, Karen Page. That's what I'm thinking of. She was a very great character in this show. She really had some good impact. It was really something that I really thought was well done, and the character of Karen Page, of course, was in the comic books, and I feel like it was a pretty good representation of that. Her introduction is through being, in the first episode, they are investigating a case with the murder of a man, and get the explanation from Karen Page. She's a suspect of the crime, of course, because she was found at the scene crying over the dead body with blood all over her. And something that you see is Matt can really tell that, okay, she's telling the truth, she didn't do this. And this come to play later on, towards the end of the show. And it was, I'll get to that in a second, but Karen Page herself was, I thought, very good. She really showed some true heroism in it. For just being a supporting character, she actually played a big role in the show. And from there, because it's only logical, we're going to go to Foggy Nelson, who was honestly, like, a lot of people don't care that much about Foggy Nelson. But honestly, he was one of my favorite parts of this show. Like, he was funny, he had a great personality, he was really enjoyable to watch. Just as a character in general. Foggy in the comics, honestly, I feel like I like this Foggy better than the one in the comic books. He just seems more of a enjoyable character to see. Given I haven't read that many Daredevil comic books. But anyway, Foggy, great personality. If you don't know him from the comics, he is Matt's best friend from college. They are best friends. They run a lawyer, I don't know what to call it. I'm just going to say a lawyer company together. They are attorneys at law. In law? I don't know. Whatever. And so yeah, and that's how you really get the introduction to Karen Page, is through Foggy and Matt investigating this, becoming her lawyer. And then she kind of becomes a part of the company. She becomes their secretary. And yeah. So I'm going to move on to some of the plot things, and I'll get to more characters later as they're introduced. One thing that I found really, really great is, in the beginning of the show, as I said, Matt can see, like, Karen Page is telling the truth. And later on, with his first confrontation with oh my gosh. Can't do this yet, I'm sorry guys. I gotta go back to one more character before I do this. Wilson Fisk. Now he is, next to Matt Murdock, he's the most important character in this. He is the villain. He is Kingpin, if you don't know. They never call him the Kingpin in the show, but that's the character that he is. So, anyone who hasn't been a follower of comic books, the Kingpin is his character. And his character in this show is it's very interesting to watch. And as a kid, there's one episode, I think, Shadow of the Glass, something like that. It shows many flashbacks to him as a child, and it's really interesting to watch. Like, that was one of the highlights of this whole show to me, because it's so interesting to me to see, like, flashbacks and things of how people become who they are. That's why I watch a lot of, like, psychological thriller movies and things like this. Oh, and just to let you know, you probably know this, but this show is mature. It's not something that, if you are a kid, it might not be your thing. But anyway, let me move on from there. Wilson Fisk, he was obviously kind of abused as a child, and he is kind of traumatized from having killed his father. And one thing that is a big piece of his character is that he loves his city, and he cares about his city. He wants it to be good. He doesn't see himself as the bad guy until the very end. In the beginning, he thinks that he is just helping the city, and that Daredevil was called either the Devil of Hell's Kitchen or the Man in the Mask throughout the series until the end. He feels that he is the villain in this story, and a lot of people do throughout. And, oh my gosh, I've been going for 9 minutes. Okay, I'm going to try and speed this end part along a little bit. He feels that he is being the good guy. He doesn't see that he really is the villain here. He doesn't want to think that he's being cruel for the sake of cruelty. He thinks that he's doing it for the sake of his city. He's doing it for the greater good, which a lot of villains see it that way. His main fear is that he doesn't want to be his father. He doesn't want to be someone who's willing to be cruel just for the sake of himself or personal gain. And it's not until the very end of the series that he really sees that, okay, he's the villain, he needs to embrace this, and that's when he really takes on Daredevil. So let me move on to some of the plot here. As I was saying, Karen Page believes, no, not Karen Page. Matt Murdock can see that Karen Page is telling the truth, and he, later on, he's beaten half to death in his first confrontation with the Kingpin. They get in a fight. Kingpin bashes his face in. He can barely walk. He stumbles into his apartment. Foggy Nelson comes in looking for Matt, and he sees a man in a mask. He realizes, oh my gosh, this is Matt. Matt is the big dude that's been going around town beating people up. This is where they really have a big falling out, where they're kind of like, they don't like each other. It's like a high school kind of thing. It's not. They're adults and they're really having a problem here. But it's like he feels betrayed because he's been lied to by Matt all these years. Like, he figures out that Matt, to some degree, he can see basic shapes and things. He knows to some degree what people look like. And he feels really betrayed by this because he's known him since college and he's never been aware of this. And because Matt has been, beating up on people, being the devil of Hell's Kitchen for so long, he doesn't feel this is right. This is where they have a bit of a falling out. And something that Foggy realizes is, he realizes all the senses that have been enhanced by him. He realizes, okay, this is how he knew. This is why he had us take Karen Page in as a client, and that's a big thing throughout. And this is very, I found it really great. I also found it kind of it was very interesting to watch this whole show. Honestly, the whole thing was had a good pacing to it, but it didn't feel like everything was sped along. Storylines lasted a while. And they also had a very overarching story. It wasn't like they didn't move on to different things throughout. I thought that was really good. Because a lot of shows are like one-offs. Storyline of the week type thing. But this one was very an overarching story, like a comic book story arc. That was pretty great. So I have more to talk about, but this video has gone on for 12 minutes, and I know some of you guys don't like to sit through long videos like this. So this will be part 1 of my review, and you can come back next time for the second part. But if you did enjoy this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, leave comments down below, and I will see you in the next